All right, well, why don't we get started just in the interest of trying to keep on schedule tonight. So welcome everybody to the 2022 year in review, or it's actually 2021 year in review, but we hold the meeting in 2022. And it's a pleasure to have so many of our supporters here with us tonight, along with the board and the staff of True North Aid. I'm Scott Harris, I'm the chair of the board, and it's been a pleasure to continue to work with the team this year to achieve so many great things that you're going to hear about tonight. And I don't want to take up too much time at the beginning of the meeting simply because there's so much great stuff that lies ahead of us. But I do want to, express my thanks to the chair, to the members of the board and to the staff for all the great work that they've done all year round, but also in getting ready for tonight. I hope you find the information that we are able to share tonight useful and exciting, because I believe the work of the agency is really exciting. And we've had another banner year in terms of what we've been able to accomplish. I do want to take a moment just to acknowledge the territory that we're on. And so I would just invite each of you, wherever you are, to just take a moment to reflect on the lands that you find yourself in today. I myself am in the Akwesasne area and the Anishinaabe Haudenosaunee tribes territory, and so I give thanks and appreciation to the lands and to the peoples of the lands on which we find ourselves today. And I would just encourage you to do this, given that we are such a diverse country and there are so many people here tonight. I believe we have representatives from a number of our programs with us as well tonight. So I just want to take the time to thank them for their leadership in continuing to deliver great leadership to such a wide range of initiatives that you're going to hear about as we go through this. So welcome to all who are supporters both in spirit and otherwise. We very much appreciate all your encouragement and the ways that you enable the work that we do. I do, at this time, I want to invite Elder Norman McCallum to offer greetings. Norman has been a wonderful member of our advisory council and we've had the pleasure of his guidance and leadership and advice over the last number of years. And we certainly, once again, want to welcome you, Norman, to the meeting to bring greetings. I believe you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're great.
Yes, I want to thank you. To me, it's a privilege and an honor to be a volunteer and a member and a part of True North Aid. I'm truly blessed and honored, okay? And to be at this meeting tonight. And I would like to begin by thanking the donors, the staff, and the communities that are involved for all of their kindness and their compassion to help and work together. And also the volunteers and, like I said, the staff at True North Aid and throughout the communities. To me, it's very exciting when I see firsthand how the people in the communities can change when we understand and learn from different cultures. And it's truly a blessing to see the faces of these people in our Indigenous communities when we share and see all the good in all the people. To me, it's been a joy and an honor to learn and to work with you, with the staff and the volunteers and the donors. It's really exciting. If I could collect all the smiles and all the thank yous that I've seen and heard firsthand from the communities and the people, I would never be able to put them all on paper. There are so many thank yous from the hard work of good people, from the board of the directors to our executive director, Ken Smith, and all the staff, Amanda, just go on and on. And as I travel through the north and through the communities, I see the results firsthand, all the work that's been put in. So as an elder of True North Aid, I want to thank the donors and all the people from the bottom of our hearts for your compassion and your love to help us. And for that, I thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Norman. Very wonderful to have you here again tonight, and those words mean so much to us. So with this, I'm going to turn to Ken now to bring greetings as the Executive Director.
Well, I just want to say thank you, Scott, and thank you, Norman. I just want to say it's an absolute delight to be here with you all tonight for our annual review. Tonight is about celebrating the people and the efforts of True North Aid. And you're going to hear a lot of amazing reports and from a lot of incredible people who make it all possible. It wouldn't be possible without a multitude of volunteers, our Indigenous friends throughout the North who help lead and initiate many of the programs and projects and initiatives that take place, and those here in the South who come alongside to raise funds and donations and lead programs as well. But I want to thank tonight in particular the incredible staff that Norman mentioned as well, who work tirelessly to administrate, communicate, organize a multitude of tasks that are required to make the activities of True North Aid possible. It is an absolute joy to work with this team of people, to lead them, and we have a growing team. It's significantly larger than it was last year, but you know, Marilyn Stewart, who helps lead finance, Emily Everett, who leads our operations, Amanda, who is our outreach manager. She's been with us since 2017. Tamara Stafford as well has been with us for quite a long time, since 2018, as our finance assistant, and one of our newer staff members, Rachel DeRoche, who is an incredible administrator and has taken a huge burden off our shoulders. We have program staff as well who work part-time, Carolina Budeman and Katie Koopman, and there are so many others, but I just want to highlight the incredible staff that we have. I'd now like to hand it over to our finance team to go through the financials of True North Aid for 2021.
Good evening, everybody. It is our pleasure to present to you the 2021 financial statements. This is an independent auditor's report conducted in accordance with the Canadian Generally Accepted Auditing Standards. We'd like to thank DPK Accounting out of Hamilton, Ontario, for conducting our 2021 audit. The financial statements comprise the balance sheet as of December 31st, 2021, and the statements of changes in fund balances, revenue and expenses, and cash flows for the year then ended, and notes to the True North Aid financial statements. The audit stated that the financial statements presented fairly. In all material respects, the financial position of True North Aid as of December 31st, 2021, and the results of its operations and its cash flows for the year in accordance with accounting standards for not-for-profit organizations. I'm going to hand it out to Marilyn Stewart, who is our finance manager, and she's going to be walking us through the 2021 financial documents.
Thank you, Tamara. As mentioned, we will be looking at 4 statements tonight that comprise financial statements for an organization. Tamara's already mentioned those. I'll move forward from this slide, and as we come to the actual statement, I'll explain the purpose in case some of you aren't accounting savvy, but you still need to know what we do with your donations. So here we have the balance sheet. It's a statement of the organization's assets, liabilities, and equity as of a given date. So you'll see this is as of the end of our fiscal year, which is December 31, 21. So this sheet is very simply showing you our status. The formula for a balance sheet is that the assets are equal to the liabilities plus the equity, the leftover amount. So you can see that our assets are at 1,851,871. We had liabilities of 94,276, and at the bottom you can see the balance is 1,757,595. That's just an overall picture of our assets, our liabilities, and our fund balances as of the end of December. Next slide. Okay, this is the statement of, whoops, I think our slides are out of order here. Okay, let's just do that one. You'll see on this slide the statement of revenue and expenses. I've put together another slide that's a little easier to read, but before we move from this, I want you to look at one of our expenditures last year under operating, was advertising and promotion, and look what we spent. We generated revenue of $2,906,878, and we spent $3 on advertising and promotion. Isn't that wonderful? Okay, so next slide. All right, let me just find my place. Okay, so this statement measures the organization's financial performance. It shows revenues, expenses, profits, and losses. So a little bit of a different picture. So I've summarized it there, and we'll just quickly go through these. So our revenue last year was $2,958,821, a significant increase over the previous year of 219.5%. Our expenses for humanitarian, there was an increase there also, 1921 over 20, of over $1 million, which was wonderful. When we see humanitarian expenses, you know that's the good work we're doing. Those are funds that are going out in goods or services to the communities. So that was our humanitarian. Our operating expenses, those are the charges that we need to run the organization. We have service charges to pay on our Visa cards. We have phone bills to pay. So that's in the operating expenses. And you can see that was $164,260. Again, an increase, of course, over the previous year. Our total expenses then at $1,642,689. Again, there was a large increase there, but 90% of that increase was for humanitarian. So that's a wonderful expense. Our net income, so the net income is the total revenue that's left after you pay all of the expenses. So the net income increased by $921,000 over the previous year, or 233%. So you can see that's an amazing change during our fiscal year last year. We have something on there called internally restricted funds, and that was also shown on the balance sheet. That's just money that we should have spent in 2021 on a contract for beds that we had purchased, but because of the pandemic, we were not able to ship. So that money was set aside for that purpose. So what we were left over with after we paid all of our bills was $1,266,895. So our revenue increased substantially last year. And honestly, we were not even expecting such an increase. And I just want to mention that for those of you that have walked with us on this journey, you'll know that we do not spend money for the sake of spending money. We strike a strong balance between being very strategic and purposeful, and at the same time being flexible enough to meet the needs that arise that need a short turnaround time. So I want you to know that we're stewarding your gifts with integrity and care. And while it looks like we have a lot of money that we haven't spent, we are planning on the use of that money. Okay, next slide. Okay, now I have to go back and find my notes. The slides are a little out of order here. Okay. Sorry for the delay here. Here it is. I've got it. So this statement is purely the change in fund balances. So it's showing the equity or what's remaining after the assets have been used to satisfy the debts. So this one is very simple again. So you'll see that at the beginning of 2021, this was carried over from the year end of 2020. You'll see in our general fund, we had $441,461. So if you will, that was our profit from 2020. The excess of revenue over the operating expenses, then the next line is 1,316,134. That was from 2021. Last year, that was the increase after our operating expenses. There's a $490,700 a gain. I just mentioned that. That's money that we transferred from the general fund. We set aside to pay for a commitment we had made for the purchase of mattresses. And so you'll see the bottom line at $1,266,895. That is the money that we can still use to do our programs this year, left over from 2021 at the end of the year. So I hope that's clear. It's the opening balance plus the money that we had left after we paid our expenses, the money we set aside for a commitment that was made and gave us our fund balance or our equity at the end of the year. If we were in a for-profit organization, that would be the money that we'd be sending out to our shareholders. So that's what that money is there. Next slide. Okay, this statement, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. It's merely showing the flow of cash in and out of the organization. So just everything that's in and out of the organization on the cash flow statement. So I think that is all I had to share on there.
Yeah, I'll just bring a couple remarks regarding the donations. And so everyone knows, a copy of our audited financial statements for 2021 are available upon request. And so if you would like that, you can reach out. We also hope to post them on our website, and that'll be forthcoming. But as Marilyn talked about, our growth last year was unprecedented and unexpected. It really has been over the past 2 years, but in particular last year, we tripled our growth over 2020. We aren't entirely sure why, with so little money, $3 spent on marketing and promotion, but I think it would be safe to say that with the discovery of unmarked graves at former residential schools across Canada, people have been shocked. They've been shocked by the news, they've been horrified, and as a result, they've chosen to demonstrate a commitment to serve and support those who have been affected through financial contribution. And we are absolutely humbled as a charity to be able to steward these gifts, working closely with Indigenous advisors and communities, as you will see shortly, to do whatever we can to serve and support through the various projects, delivery of essential aid supplies, funding for programs, and so much more to help alleviate, any and all hardships that many, almost all, face. But I just want to show you that here in 2018, our total donations were 942. And then in 2021, we saw total donations of 14,134. I mean, that is absolutely incredible. But still, the average gift amount is just $203 if you include all the gifts. If you exclude those who have given donations greater than 30,000, the average gift amount would be $131. And so we still very much are supported by individuals, businesses who, give just these important, small, but very, very important donations. And so we're so grateful to see this growth. Next slide. As you can see here, in terms of the number of gifts given to True North Aid, we just saw an incredible uptick in the number of people who engaged with this charitable organization last year over the previous year. And we continue to see that grow this year, not quite to the extent, but we continue to see the revenue on par with what we experienced last year. Next slide. Here again, you can see incredible growth trajectory as we look at the comparison of counts, the number of people, again, that have engaged with our charity. Again, a result of Canadian becoming aware and awakened to the reality of so much tragedy that has taken place over the last 150 years. And we're just one of many organizations, charities and groups who have been able to actively respond and do whatever we can to help serve and support. Next slide. I'd like to just take a moment to acknowledge the many contributions to our aid organizations exceeding $10,000. These are the companies, the businesses, the foundations who have given large donations. We are grateful to every one of them for entrusting us with their generosity and allowing us to steward these hard-earned dollars, to support through the activities that we engage in. And so thank you to so many of these companies who have generously given, so many of them without strings attached. Sometimes a donation requires a lot of reporting, but so many of these groups have given, trusting that we will do right by their donations. So thank you. And then here, next slide. Here's just a picture of the thousands and thousands of individuals, nonprofit groups, faith-based groups, small businesses, large businesses, but mostly individuals, moms and dads, sisters and brothers, sons and daughters, who have risen to the occasion and contributed to the work of True North Aid. And so from the very bottom of our hearts, and on behalf of the communities, the people that we serve, thank you, thank you, thank you. At this time, next slide, I would like to hand it over to Emily Everett, our operations manager, and Amanda Stoke, our outreach manager, to tell you about the incredible programs that we have going.
Thanks, Ken, and good evening, everyone. So this year, True North Aid has transitioned to focus on 6 pillar programs that you're seeing before you right now. Those are the Community Grant Program, Supplies for Success, Reconciliation, Indigenous Youth Opportunities Program, the Healthy Homes Project, and Live Well. So we've been learning a lot and just really already seen such amazing success in all of these programs, both new and old. And in a minute, we're going to go through each of them and tell you and show you more about these programs. But first, I'd like to pass it over to Amanda Stoke, who's going to show you a little bit more of the communities that we've been able to support.
Thanks so much, Emily. So put together this big map. It's like, what has our outreach been since 2017? And as you can see, it's been to 101 communities, all of them having community champions, all of them connecting with our programs such as Moontime Sisters, which you'll see a lot in Quebec and BC, but also through flower programs and those connections through Rotary HIP. That was one of them too. So we make these connections, build these relationships, and then we continue to grow these relationships through helpful partners across the country. But Moontime Sisters, again, is a huge one. And our flower program, our mattress program, those have gone school supplies and winter jackets, with stuff that we'll touch on a little bit later. But this has been our outreach since 2017, and I think it's pretty incredible for coming back in 2017 to now for 5 years to reach 101 communities across the country. I mean, there's more communities I definitely want to help in the future, and but this is pretty incredible. I think we have to celebrate that. Back to Emily.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next program that we're going to talk about is the Community Grant Program, and this is an amazing program that we all love so much as a staff. It is a multi-tiered funding program with levels, tiers from anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000, supporting Indigenous-led projects in northern and remote communities that aim to create positive and impactful community center change. So, you know, at True North Aid, we truly believe that self-determination and self-governance are key to addressing inequities and social justice initiatives. And so from the conception to the idea, the implementation and the delivery of a project, it's been so amazing to see communities lead the charge and make a difference. So the Community Grant Program supports community with holistic and sustainable projects that are focused on education, cultural revitalization, community building, food sovereignty, housing inequities, holistic physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being, equitable access to essential resources, and more. So we can move to the next slide. So in an effort to really support self-governance and equitable decision-making, we've implemented the Indigenous Advisory Committee, whose names and photos you can see below. Each of these committee members has ample experience in leading community-based projects, and they have brought really a wealth of knowledge to this program, imparting both wisdom and practical advice. Decisions are made by committee consensus based on the budget that we have for the program that quarter. And now I'm going to invite Amanda again to tell you a little bit more about the specifics of some of the grant recipients this year.
Thank you. It was so cool just being able to read through every single community grant application and then be able to like tell people that, you know, hey, you've been approved. And I'll touch base a little bit on that later, but we were able, for first time ever, able to approve 16 community grants by the Indigenous Advisory Committee, who, by the way, are just completely awesome. I get to call them friends and really teach us a lot. But with this, 16 community grants means you have 16 champions who filled in the applications. So some of them I'll touch on, but you'll see in the bottom right corner, there's a picture of Yvonne Valentine. She's from Grand Rapids, or Mississippiwistic First Nation in Manitoba. We met her 2 weeks ago, actually, which was fantastic. But we also met Esther, who runs the, she's a health director, but also helps to run the doula program, which we approved $50,000 for, which was really great. And so they're going to be supporting young moms with families and kids throughout their programs with the doula program, helping them guide through pregnancy, helping them with getting pregnancy packages, but also like a summer camp as well to support the kids there and the families. It's a really great community, really great people that are leading the charge, what Emily's just said, and really being those champions within their community. So that was really cool to meet them and talk about their program. And Yvonne showed us around the community when we were there. So that was really cool to see too. And then the other picture that you'll see here is just something, a small micro grant. $5,000 was given to Jan Spey, I believe. I always get Jan Spey and Cole Bay, and I feel really bad. But anyways, they were able to purchase sorry. They filled these bags up with summer toys, as you can see. And I just saw recently on their Facebook page too that they're able to give like barbecue packages so the family could have a nice barbecue in the summer, and so they get to enjoy that. Some other highlights were the lacrosse program in Big River that's led by Brenda Cromarty, who I've gotten to know over the past year, community nutrition program in West Pacific. And we also, with the community grants, we've gone to work with communities that we haven't before. So Colville Lake It was a really sad kind of story, but it was also very empowering to hear from Joelle and in the community and Sheena, who were running these workshops to address trauma in the community caused by the residential schools and addictions and all that. So together, they built this program over the course of 6 days, and did some before and after care as well, and stayed around after they taught them about this stuff. But as you can see in one of the pictures, one of the topics was grief and youth dealing with grief and all those types of things. So her program was really well received, and just really meaningful programs and connections that, again, are promoting self-determination and, you know, sense of togetherness. I really bringing a community together, not only just for the good stuff, but recognizing the bad stuff that's happened as well. So that was really interesting to see there. But the main focus is, again, empowerment. And then this is a quick little video that Brenda from Big River sent me for the lacrosse of the kids playing and learning lacrosse. And so they do actually leagues and games and all that sort of stuff. So if you want to play away quickly, Rachel, it's a 20-second video. Did it work? There. Just really cute.
You guys like lacrosse? Is it kind of cool? I sure like these practice balls better.
And so just fun activities, and also bringing culture back too, because a lot of the programs that we helped to support and granted were cultural on the land programs and camps like the Sawtooth region, and also as well with music program with Jens Bay. They were able to hire some instructors and do traditional music, but also some kind of like modern music as well, which was really cool. Now, these are the 2 programs I was really excited to share with you about. I also met these lovely people with my partner, Michael, in Manitoba just 2 weeks ago. So the Ebb and Flow Food Bank was really cool, and it was so cool to meet them. So they're just members of the community. You'll see Charlie there, and you'll see Suzette, and they're really the leaders in this campaign for the food bank. Anyways, they didn't think they would ever get a grant like this. They have wanted to make a difference. They really wanted to start something, and they saw what happened in Broken Head, I believe, First Nation, that they were able to work with Harvest Manitoba or Manitoba Harvest to get food there, but they didn't have like the core insurance that they would need. So when we arrived, they were so excited to meet us. They had a band counselor come out and shake our hands, and they showed us around the arena, and they showed us where the new school was going to be built, and they showed us pretty much everywhere, their cultural grounds where this photo was taken. But they are basically starting a food bank, and they'll be going, they purchased a trailer to carry the food around, because these communities in Manitoba are pretty spread out. Like some other communities, perhaps in other provinces, but fairly spread out, and could be difficult for some families to get food. So they would deliver the food that they would have gotten from the food bank on Manitoba Harvest, and would deliver those food. But they also have a hut kind of, or a shed, but they'll be refurbishing that shed so people can go in with their traditional hunt basically, and chop that up and prepare the meats and donate either some of that to the food bank, or just have a space so they can do that, have a clean space, and be able to prepare their traditional food. So that was really cool. They're so awesome. They were really fun to meet, but they're so passionate about it. They're like, we're just going to do it. If people don't think we can do it, we're just going to do it. We're going to show them that we're going to do it. And they really, truly care about the community. So that's just a snapshot of Suzette and Charlie and his niece and nephew there, who are helping with this food bank. And then we also had the opportunity to meet Dr. Alex Wilson from One House, Many Nations. And so they're doing a Nutana project with the school in Big River, Saskatchewan as well. But they're building these small homes, and they're going to be giving those homes, like they have the students come in, help build it, they'll be monitored, but students will be building the homes. The youth that are getting the homes, they're helping design the homes as well. So it's a whole community effort to help youth who are at risk of homelessness to live in these tiny homes. So Alex is spearheading that project, and she's fantastic. So has a vision. Check out One House Many Nations on social media and see what she's up to, because it's pretty cool stuff, and I think it's actually going to change a lot of how we think about housing. Other recent programs that we've done with the wonderful people that we work with, the Fiddle program in Buffalo Narrows, Saskatchewan with Zena Fraser, some other cultural programming days from the Métis knowledge lessons in Buffalo Narrows, hockey equipment, emergency support for Glulik during a COVID outbreak there. We supported some home care programs and working on supporting more communities with the Lego Replay program. So that's my spiel for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. So we're going to go into talking about this Supplies for Success program, which really is a program that staggers the shipment of our most frequently requested goods and supplies throughout the year. As we know very well at True North Aid, communities across the North in Canada face significant barriers in accessing essential goods and services. And shipping goods to these remote communities is costly and can take a lot of time. And so we get to pride ourselves in supporting these communities to receive these goods as they need them most. We've broken our supplies program to the programs like Goodnight Sleep, Back to School, Warm Clothes, Warm Hearts, Res Reads, and hockey equipment. We might come up with a more catchy name for that last one later on. I'm just gonna tell you a little bit quickly about A Good Night's Sleep. So in partnership with Silk and Snow, True North Aid has so far provided 568 beds to 31 communities throughout Canada. I had the privilege of witnessing the very first delivery of beds in White Sand First Nation. I got to meet the elder who's in this photo, Cecilia, as she opened up her first pillow, and she was just so excited. And we actually have on the next slide a CTV featured video where you get to see a little bit more about that.
Canada says the average adult needs between 7 and 9 hours of sleep every night. But for some in the country's poverty-plagued north, just finding a bed is a challenge. In tonight's Indigenous Circle, Donna Sound introduces us to a new campaign aimed at sowing the seeds of slumber.
Nothing like a good night's sleep. But for many people living in remote northern communities across Canada, it's just a dream. Until now. In the White Sand First Nation, there's a special delivery. It's all part of the Good Night Sleep initiative, a new partnership between the charitable group True North Aid and mattress company Silk and Snow. They're providing badly needed beds to First Nations. And for the isolated community of Sigachik in the Northwest Territories, the beds couldn't have arrived at a better time.
Most of the kids were sleeping on the floor, on foamies, or just on mattresses.
Even though sleep is vital, buying a mattress hasn't been a priority. The focus is on putting food on the table, and the prices are high. 1 liter of milk costs over $11 in Sigachik. In Toronto, it's just over $3.
If you're having to prioritize between high cost of food in some of these remote communities or a bed, you're going to choose food.
With the new beds and more sleep, the kids are more active, and the elders are trying something new.
I had calls from the elders saying, I've never had such a good sleep in my life. I didn't even want to get out of bed.
43 First Nations have requested beds. 2 communities have received them so far.
It was like Christmas. It was Christmas for the elder.
True North Aid is hoping to provide 1,000 bed sets of the 3,500 needed.
There's a lot of inequality across this country, and particularly with remote communities.
Still, the new beds have brought on a new fear.
Well, before the mattresses were on the floor, nobody had to worry about the boogeyman. Now they're going to be looking under their beds before they go to sleep.
If it's too...
Oh. Next to receive a good night's sleep are 6 communities in Saskatchewan. Donna Sound, CTV News.
Health Canada.
I'm just going to invite Marilyn to share a quick testimonial and also Amanda as well about this program.
I have the great joy of sending many of you folks thank you letters for your wonderful donations. And I just happen to have in my hand, I pulled a few messages. Here's a message in response to that news clip. My husband and I were watching the news the evening he was discharged from the hospital. It was a program on the donations of beds and mattresses. It brought us both to tears. He is in poor health, but instead he felt very fortunate that he was able to come home to a nice warm bed and had good food to eat. He felt blessed, and we wanted in some small way to make a difference for the Indigenous peoples. We keep you in our prayers and hope in some small way our donation will help someone. That brought me to tears.
It's beautiful. And honestly, I know so many people, just because I get all the reports that come in and photos, and that they're so grateful just to have a bed to sleep on. They're not sleeping on foam mattresses anymore, and they can get a good night's sleep, literally. And we were told that a lot of elders benefited from this, children and families. So those donations that came in are such a blessing to the communities, and they're so happy to get it. And I'll just wrap this part up too with the supplies. So as you can see, there's quite some big numbers there of how many pounds that we sent for back to schools. We're continuing to do the back to school program for school supplies and backpacks, and we've had over 24 requests for over 5,000 backpacks around that. So hopefully we can say yes to each everyone. So we're still on the process of doing that. And then we're also focusing on delivering some warm clothes this upcoming year as well. But last year we delivered over 11,000 pounds of winter clothing. So that was pretty exciting to see. As well, we also focused on this program called Res Reads and donating your gently used books to communities. So last year we did it. This year we did it again in Kingston, Kingston, Winnipeg, and another community that I'm forgetting. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry. But that was 10 pallets of these books. As you can see, they were well received, and lots of families got to take some great books home. And then 430 new Indigenous authored books were matched by Indigo for the Love of by the Love of Reading Foundation, and were donated to Frontier College. And we also are working on hockey equipment this year, but we sent 9 pallets to Big River, Saskatchewan, as you can see in that photo, and Cape Dorset and Nunavut. So that was pretty exciting to get some hockey equipment up there.
Thanks, Amanda. So as part of our commitment to Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action, this year we've launched our new Reconciliation program. And so within our Reconciliation program, we also have a grant program that is structured very similarly to our community grant program, where a Reconciliation Advisory Committee on consensus grants money from $5,000 or from $2,500 up to $25,000 to Canadians across the country who've applied and written to us with their amazing ideas of how they want to work towards reconciliation in their communities. So these are some of the members on the Reconciliation Advisory Committee, and I'm just going to quickly pass it back to Amanda to tell you some of the stories of the excellent applications that we've received through that program.
And I'll be really brief, as I know we're running low on time, but there is 7 grants approved this year. It was fantastic, tons of great ideas, including anti-racism training videos for healthcare workers, but also the WeSeeU that was led by Dwight Ballantyne and the Ballantyne Project, brought in kids from close to Fort McMurray in Alberta, and Fort Chipewyan, there we go. Went to Vancouver for a great visit to some cultural places. So they took a ride on the bus for the first time. They stayed in the Indigenous hotel. They got to see a horse for the first time, I was told, as well. It was a really great, well-received program, bought with the WeSeeU trip, and making sure that these kids are seen, but also having opportunity outside of their community if they want it. So that was really cool to see that happening as it unfold as it was happening over social media. And there's quite a few others, but they're all fantastic and all supporting the idea of reconciliation. with settlers and Indigenous people. So it was really cool to see that.
I'd also like to just invite and introduce to you our colleague Rachel, who's True North Aid's administrator, to tell you a little bit more about the Good Ally program.
Hello, everyone. So the Good Ally program runs as part of the Reconciliation program. So it's the continued development of educational materials and the pursuance of relationships focusing on reconciliation, the planning and development of future reconciliatory opportunities for fall 2022, which include the third annual Reconciliation Walk in Kingston, Ontario at the Little Category Conservation Area. There will be a fall retreat based on author Patty Carwick's book, Becoming Kin. This retreat will be called Begin Again and will focus on relationships between non-Indigenous and Indigenous people. The Good Ally program continues to engage youth across Canada by participating in virtual meetings and or answering emailed questions regarding the good work of True North Aid.
Thank you, Rachel. So moving to the next slide. Oh, actually, yes, we have a video from our Reconciliation Coordinator who will tell you a little bit more.
Good evening to True North Aid's Board of Directors. Good evening to our National Director, Ken Smid, fellow colleagues, donors, and invested audience members. My name is Katie Koopman, and I am the Reconciliation Program Coordinator with True North Aid. And although this is a recent appointment, my relationship with this organization as a volunteer, past board member, and now employee enters its 4th year. As True North Aid gains traction across Canada in promoting and providing humanitarian aid in remote Northern Indigenous communities, well, so too does the momentum of Canadians searching for opportunities to listen, learn, and partake in reconciliation events. And this is a responsibility I have been invited into, is to provide educational opportunities that challenge fellow settler Canadians to reflect and grow in their journey of reconciliation. In the 2 short months I have been hired into this position, the planning and implementing of such opportunities has been busy. And so how are we doing this? Well, as you may be aware, True North Aid created 2 grant committees this year, one for funding community initiatives and one for funding reconciliation initiatives. Facilitating the Reconciliation Grant Committee is one function of my job description, and it has been my honor to invite both Indigenous and non-Indigenous members to this committee. The wisdom, input, and care taken by these individuals in discerning the successful grant applications has been a joy to observe and learn from. Well, in closing, I just want to say that this organization is never short on having anything to do, from initiating dialogue to demonstrating allyship. I look forward to hosting future in-person and online events and representing the ethos of True North Aid and the good work we accomplish together. Thank you.
This time I'd like to invite Ali, who is a board member and very involved in our Hockey Cares program, to give a little update.
Thank you. Well, we're very excited that Hockey Cares is back in 2022, and it's coming together, and in a few short weeks, we'll be welcoming our friends from Attawapiskat to Oakville, and then the youth from Oakville will be returning to Attawapiskat in November. So this is a youth exchange program based in hockey, and we're so excited. It's been a long 2 years of not being able to see people in person and trying to continue relationships online, and we're really excited to have a whole new group of kids from both communities get to know each other very soon. So Experiences Canada, I have to mention, is a huge part of our funding for the travel, and I believe we are now the very first since the pandemic, the very first program to be granted funding from Experiences Canada for in-person travel. So yeah, we're glad to be back, and thank you for the support of True North Aid for helping us get back as well.
In our great country, there could not be 2 communities as different as Attawapiskat and Oakville, Ontario. While separated by distance and culture, their love for hockey brings them together. Since 2017, Hockey Cares has connected youth from both towns for 2 5-day hockey tournaments. One in suburban southern Ontario, the other more than 1,000 kilometers away on the isolated shore of James Bay. It's a life-changing chance for Indigenous and non-Indigenous youth to play together and learn from each other, exposing every player to a culture vastly different from their own, and to new opportunities and experiences that will empower, educate, and inspire them. Through this exchange, they will create lasting memories and lifelong relationships, and build awareness and connections that can help bring about true reconciliation between Canada's Indigenous and non-Indigenous people. Please join us in supporting this next generation of Canadian leaders as they spark real change through their shared bonds of hockey, community, and respect for Indigenous culture. Their dream is our dream. We invite you to be part of Hockey Cares, a project of True North Aid.
So another one of our great programs is Live Well, where we're supporting and committed to serving healthcare initiatives that promote a healthy body, mind, and spirit. And one of those initiatives is through Moontime Sisters. As many of you probably have heard, they send menstrual and hygiene supplies up to northern and remote communities. And so last year they sent over 357,000 products. And so I think they're just getting close to 2 million or have just been over that. Next video, please.
Nicole White, and this is Veronica Brown from Moontime Sisters. This last year, we've seen substantial growth within our project. We have 4 chapter leads in Saskatchewan, Ontario, British Columbia, and Manitoba. Since our inception in 2017, we've sent 1.98 million products up to northern and remote communities across Canada.
This last year, we formally became a flagship project of True North Aid, and we joined a partnership with the National Association of Friendship Centers. It also saw our biggest influx of donors and need while we navigated the impacts of the pandemic. And with the Ontario government's announcement to supply high schools with free product, we publicly spoke out for the need to have on-reserve schools gain access to the same products. We worked with other national partners to lobby the federal government on the needs for Northern menstruators and equitable access to menstrual products, and we are looking forward to continuing this conversation with them. We've enhanced our national profile and have been engaged in countless public presentations and events this year.
And we couldn't have done this without the support of True North Aid. This next year will see us embark on an academic study of Northern menstruators, do a substantial rebrand and renaming, and stay tuned as we grow with the flow in the coming year.
And probably the last year for me for the night, but the last year we were also able to partner up with Roll Up in London with Goodwill and Roll Up, and they're both in London, to send out mobility aids and PPE supplies to communities across northwestern Ontario and Manitoba. And so 12,648 pounds were sent, which is pretty great. So people can access those medical supplies that they wouldn't otherwise have access to. And now back to Emily.
Yeah, so I would love to tell you more about the Indigenous Youth Opportunities Program, but we actually have a lovely video from the founder who's going to do a much better job than I will. So we will now move to that video.
Hi everyone, my name is Carolina. I run the Indigenous Youth Opportunities Program, or IOP, here at True North Aid. It's been an exciting first year. We ran a pilot with 8 youth entrepreneurs from Alberta and Manitoba, each receiving $2,000 for their community projects or their business enterprise. So from ribbon skirt making to a storybook to landscaping and a salon business on reserve, we've just had an exciting and fabulous first year. And if you are in the Toronto area this June 21st, we will be honoring each entrepreneur with a graduation ceremony at the McMichael Art Gallery. So thank you so much for inviting me to speak to you today, and let's stay in touch. Take care.
For me, the Indigenous Youth Opportunities Program is an amazing opportunity for young people to be able to be supported in their projects at a grassroots level. I think for so long we have many youth across Canada that struggle to find the support that they need to do grassroots initiatives, you know, whether that's doing drum making workshops, whether that's related to doing art workshops, doing music, dancing, anything related to supporting your community in any which way that you see it as a young person is what I love about this opportunity. You know, the idea that we have so many ideas as young people and making them a reality and making them happen is what I truly love about this opportunity.
I'm going to invite Rachel to tell us about the Healthy Homes Project.
We have about 10 minutes left here, so we're just running a little bit over time if that's okay, but people are free to leave after 8 o'clock if they need to. So a bit about the Healthy Homes Project. Emily and I were very fortunate to be on site for this program, and we witnessed a home inspection. We were there for some of the wellness workshops that Courtney held, and it was just really inspiring to see the community come together, the camaraderie and the warmth in the room for the elder activity that we did was truly amazing, and I'll let Jay sort of take it away from here.
Hello, Ani. My name is Jason Morningstar. I'm from Mississauga First Nation, located between Sudbury and Sault Ste. Marie. I'm the founder and CEO of M-Spections Inc. We are an Indigenous housing consulting firm. We travel the province and we assist Indigenous communities with their housing needs. That could be inspections, could be infrastructure, it could be construction. So we're currently in Yimatong First Nation. It's north of Thunder Bay. It took us a few days to get here, and we are here performing our work. A bit of my story. I grew up in Mississauga First Nation, and there's a waiting list for houses on my reserve. So while we were waiting for a house, we had to live in a small cabin my grandfather had built. We had no water, no electricity, and I was about 10 to 12 years old when we lived in this cabin. And it was hard times and it was hard work, but I'm glad I went through it because I wouldn't be where I'm at today unless I went through that experience. I remember going to the water with a 5-gallon pail and getting water, bringing it in, heating it up on the wood stove just so I can wash my hair and go to school. In the winter time when it was really cold, we'd put blankets down the middle of the cabin, move all the beds to the one side where the wood stove was so we could stay warm. And then we get the notice that we got awarded a house on the reserve, so we're super excited. We're very happy. We move into the house. The yard is a disaster. A lot of garbage in the yard. The grass was extremely long, but we were happy because we had a house. So our first night there, we turned the lights out, and it sounded like the furniture was moving throughout the property. And we turned the lights on, and there was cockroaches everywhere. And that was night one into the house. We got a word on the reserve, but again, no complaining, happy that we had a roof over our head. We got rid of the bugs, we cleaned up the yard, and the work ethic I have today is because of my parents. We never whined, never complained, always happy, always telling jokes, and we got through it. So now we fast forward to 2022, and I'm in a position now where I get to come to these communities, and I get to help and assist, go through these properties. And I've also partnered with a nonprofit agency called True North Aid. They're one of the main reasons why I'm here. And this is our first project together called the Healthy Homes Project. It involves house inspections, a home maintenance workshop, healthcare workshops, and a youth empowerment program. We have a lot of gifts for the community, a lot of baseball items for the children. We have a lot of gloves, a lot of balls. We're going to get a community game going on later on. So yes, we're here to do a job, but we're here to build relationships as well. And if we can take you know, some of the local members out to do something that they enjoy doing, then that's a huge win for us. Thank you very much. Miigwech.
So that is a wrap on our programs, and you know, we have a lot of new exciting programs coming in the future too, so things to stay kind of in tune to follow us on social media and sign up for our newsletter and all of that, because we've got a dental program coming up, an orthotics program, hockey and winter clothing applications, Lego replay, and so much more. So yeah, stay tuned. And now I'll pass it back to either Ken or Scott. I'm not sure.
Thanks, Emily. That's great. And thank you to all the staff for the presentations today. Just some incredible work. And I think everyone is extraordinarily excited by everything that's been presented. It's a pleasure now to, I'm going to invite Kim Sigurdsson, one of our board members, to offer some closing remarks tonight. I do want to take just a quick minute to introduce two new board members for those of you who haven't had a chance to meet them. We have Valerie Vickery, who has joined us this evening, and Steve Katakwapit from Attawapiskat, who has joined the board as well. So we are super thrilled to have two new board members and two new board members who bring a great deal of diversity to the organization. Welcome, Steve and Valerie, and thank you for joining us. For those of you who are familiar with the board, this also increases the Indigenous leadership that we have on the board, and we're super thrilled about that, given the importance of the work that we're doing and in terms of reconciliation. So welcome again. And Kim, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, it's an honor working with everybody. We are really that little engine that little engine that's puffing and huffing and going up the hill and gaining steam. And I just wanted to make a remark that, Steve and Valerie bring a lot to this table too. We're a couple more Indigenous people, and I'm sure that they'll find this home for them in a way, because it's just a very, very good organization. That we've also got Norman McCallum here. He said something earlier about smiles. Smiles are what we're all about here. If we got paid for all the smiles that we created, we'd be rich. We're doing a lot of good stuff up there, and we got to remind ourselves of that once in a while. It's a hard road, but we do it. And we got great staff, and all the people that are out there that are donating to us, God bless them. I'm just overjoyed with being a part of this project, this charity, and part of the little engine that could. We started off with such meager beginnings. I remember when Ken first asked me to join, we started talking about where this True North Aid was a few years ago, and it was slim pickings. It was very, very tough. And then all of a sudden, this wave of charitable donations came in, and all of a sudden we got staff, and we're doing very well. So I welcome Valerie and Steve to our board of directors, and I want to thank everybody out there who's donating money and time and whatever else they can to our organization. And I want to thank everybody for that and wish everybody well. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kim. I really appreciate that. I'm going to forego the questions and answers period just in the interest of time, because we're a little over our scheduled time, and I do want to try and honor people's evenings. But if you do have questions or answers, I would just invite you to connect with the staff of the organization. More than happy to answer any questions that you may have, and we will get back to you as quickly as we can on all of that. So it's my pleasure to close the meeting, and I just want to add my thanks to everyone for their support, their donations, their leadership, their passion for all the great work that is happening across the country and increasingly diverse communities. The reach of the organization expands with every single year. The reach of the programs and the types of programs that the True North Aid is able to support grows every single year. I've been with the organization, I don't know how many years now as a board member, and I can tell you we have seen tremendous growth over the years in terms of the level of awareness of the work that's happening and the level of commitment to it. And I really think that's a reflection not just of the great leadership of the staff and the program leaders that do all this work, but also the hearts of Canadians who are increasingly invested in wanting to make a difference. And so with all that, I will say, you know, like, stay tuned. 2022 is going to be even better. I can't wait to come back in 2023 and share the work that's happened this year. I believe we have one final video, a thank you video to share with everybody. But after the video, you're all free to move on to other activities for your evenings. And thank you for joining us. So with that, I turn to the video.
Thank you, North Aid. We thank you for giving our children the bags for education.
And the supplies.
And the supplies. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.